What is going on, Trash Talkers? We are back with another episode for you. In today's video, we're going to give you our starts and sits for championship weekend for fantasy football. All that and much more coming your way right now! Hey Trash Talkers, over 85% of you are still not subscribed to the channel. Please be sure to hit that red subscribe button and turn on notifications as it will help us create more daily content for you. Thank you and enjoy today's video. Alright Nick, championship weekend is here and one of us is actually in the championship. Congratulations Nick for getting there. Please keep my seat warm as I held the title last year, and for just a few more days I can still call myself champion. But until then, we have some starts and sits for the rest of you who might be tinkering with your lineup, trying to make sure that you have the right pieces in place to secure your championship title. Nick, why don't you get us started with our starts and sits for the quarterback position?
Yeah, well, as someone who's going into the championship, I want to make sure my team is ready, and I want to make sure yours is as well. And for my start quarterback, I'm going with a big one. Trey Lance making his second start of the season. It's a big game for him, and we've seen Kyle Shanahan really likes to get him going in the run game. He had over 15 rush attempts in his last start. I'm going to expect a very similar result, but now he has George Kittle to work with. He has Deebo Samuel. He has Brandon Ayuk. All these weapons are now there for him to utilize. He has some experience. He's had some time to think about it, and this is when Trey Lance is really going to come through big. Trey Lance is just like Josh Allen, except he doesn't have any wear and tear on him. It's going to be a lot harder for defenses to handle him this week, and I think he has a big fantasy output coming his way. For my sit quarterback, I'm going with Kyler Murray, a big name here, but for over the last few weeks, Kyler Murray really has been playing that great, and for fantasy purposes, he's not going to have a big game this week. Kyler Murray facing the Dallas Cowboys defense, the #1 defense in the NFL. They're absolutely obliterating competition. Their front seven absolutely annihilating the offensive line. We've seen the offensive line give fits to Kyler Murray this season. He struggled to get around them, and then with Trayvon Diggs having the most interceptions for a cornerback this season, a big reason why I'm sitting Kyler Murray. I just don't think it's a big game for him. The Cardinals have not been playing well, and Kyler Murray is part of that reason I am sitting him this week in my championship matchup.
My start quarterback, I'm going with Joe Burrow against the Kansas City Chiefs. Now, I've not been a big believer against the Kansas City Chiefs defense. I do not believe that they are as tough and as vaunted as people want to think that they are. They play a very similar scheme to the Baltimore Ravens, and we saw what the Cincinnati Bengals were able to do to the Baltimore Ravens. I believe at the end of the day, Joe Burrow is going to be able to pick apart the secondary here. He's got 3 wide receivers that he likes to target a lot, and a tight end position that he knows he can rely on. Joe Mixon hasn't even been mentioned yet, and he is not only an option in the receiving game, but he's a clear-cut running back that can carry the load for this team. I think that the Kansas City Chiefs have absolutely everything they can handle in this matchup, and I'm starting Joe Burrow. For my sit quarterback, though, I'm going with Ryan Tannehill. Ryan Tannehill in his revenge game against the Miami Dolphins, but not so much. Ryan Tannehill has failed to secure at least 13 fantasy points since Derrick Henry was out with his injury. Now, even though with A.J. Brown back, it doesn't seem like he's going to reach that threshold as they still rely on the rushing game, and the only thing that's gotten his point total so high is that he is the de facto goal line running back for the Tennessee Titans, and that's not something you can count on, especially with the lineup that they currently have D'Onta Foreman and A.J. Brown back in the lineup. So I'm sitting Ryan Tannehill.
Next up for our running backs, my start of the week, Michael Carter against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Michael Carter has been a real surprise rookie running back, arguably the second best running back behind Najee or Javonte. Depends how you want to look at it. Michael Carter nonetheless has been playing great, and I don't care if the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are in front of him. He's a receiving back as well, and the Buccaneers have struggled with receiving back. Zach Wilson, he showed some improvements last week. Let's see if he can keep it up and get Michael Carter some more targets. I think this is a big week where you can trust trust Michael Carter, I think this is the week that I am willing to play him. For my sit running back, I'm going with D'Onta Foreman. You just mentioned him and how you think that he's being utilized a lot. Well, he's facing the #1 rush defense in the Miami Dolphins, and I think that they're going to make sure they're stopping this run game. They want to make Ryan Tannehill throw the ball. A.J. Brown may be playing, but he is definitely not 100%. There is no Julio Jones. You have to work with other weapons on this team, which Ryan Tannehill has struggled to work with. I think D'Onta Foreman is going to be taken out of this picture altogether because that's the way the Miami defense wants to scheme against it, and they've been playing well against the run. They are going to continue against this beat up Titans offensive line. I just don't think this is the week that I'm trusting D'Onta Foreman.
My start running back, I'm going with Rashad Penny. Rashad Penny with 2 straight back-to-back 130-plus yard outputs, now going against the Detroit Lions. And if you take a look at the weather forecast, it is going to be a sloshy, rainy, snowy day up in Seattle. And at this point, Rashad Penny is going to be the go-to guy. He is the de facto running back in the wake of Chris Carson not being there. I believe that Rashad Penny is going to have a huge workload on his shoulders to get the Seattle Seahawks team past the Detroit Lions, and I believe that he is a great start if you're looking for a running back. For my sit running back, though, I'm going with another big name and somebody we have been down on pretty much all season, Saquon Barkley. Saquon Barkley is not the name that he currently is. People do not respect Saquon Barkley the way they did just a couple of seasons ago. He has had way too many injuries. He does not have any continuity with this offense, and it is showing in their game, especially with Devontae Booker actually looking like a much, much better running back in this system. I do not believe Saquon Barkley is worth the start. He could be a championship loser if you do start him. I know I always say start your stars, but this is not one of those cases. Saquon Barkley is a massive sit for me.
Next up for our wide receivers, my start of the week, Antonio Brown against the New York Jets. Last week in his return, Antonio Brown saw 15 targets, 10 catches, and 101 yards. Antonio Brown got right back to where he was with Tom Brady, and this week we should even see an uptick in those targets. With Tom Brady trying to secure an MVP for the season, Antonio Brown is his best shot to do so. This Jets secondary is abysmal, and we're going to see Antonio Brown really take advantage of it. He is still one of the best route runners in the NFL, one of the hardest receivers to cover. Tom Brady's going to be looking for him a lot. They're going to be hooking up a lot, and I think Antonio Brown has the highest upside out of any wide receiver this week. For my sit wide receiver, I'm going with Keenan Allen up against the Denver Broncos. Keenan Allen has had some good games this season up against stiff secondaries, but the Denver Broncos are a big competition. Mike Williams just coming off of the COVID-19 list. We'll see that if he's truly ready to go. But Keenan Allen last week, when he didn't have Mike Williams opposite him, when there was no Austin Eckler in the backfield, Keenan Allen struggled to get targets at all. Less than 5 targets. He had 3 catches on the day. It was not a good output, and if you had Keenan Allen in your starting lineup like me, you're worried to start him again in your championship game, and you showed with Patrick Surtain II being a breakout rookie cornerback who's been playing extremely well. He's been matched up on Keenan Allen all game long. It's a tough matchup. I expect Justin Herbert to look for Jared Cook, for Mike Williams a lot more. Those are going to be the more open targets. I just don't think that this is the week to start Keenan Allen. I know I am not.
For my start wide receiver, I'm going with A.J. Brown. A.J. Brown, a lot of you were probably a little hesitant to start him last week, especially coming back from his injury, but now it seems like he is fully ingrained in the offense. He picked up where he left off. There is no sitting A.J. Brown any longer. You cannot be timid about his production, especially, Nick, since you talked about no Julio Jones in this game. A.J. Brown will be hyper-targeted, and it's interesting to start a wide receiver while also sitting their quarterback, but at the end of the day, A.J. Brown is going to rack up most of the targets and most of the throws that Ryan Tannehill has in his arsenal. I believe that A.J. Brown is the only start in this game. For my sit wide receiver, though, I'm going with DJ Moore against the New Orleans Saints. You can talk about how he had an 18-point output the first time around, but at the end of the day, this Carolina Panthers team is not the same as it once was, especially early in the season when they were taking the league by storm, looking like one of the better teams in the NFL. They have absolutely struggled, and we don't know who is starting at the quarterback position. It could be Sam Darnold, it could be Cam Newton, it could be Matt Rule himself. Who the hell knows? We don't actually know. And DJ Moore has suffered greatly because of the lack of continuity at the quarterback position. He doesn't know how the ball's coming out, where the ball's coming out, and what the scheme is every single week. So if it comes to my championship Sunday, I am not relying on DJ Moore.
And finally, for our tight ends, my start of the week, Dawson Knox. Dawson Knox taking on the Atlanta Falcons. The Atlanta Falcons have struggled against tight ends, and we know that Josh Allen loves throwing to Dawson Knox, especially in the red zone. There's a high upside for a touchdown coming Dawson Knox's way, and I am riding that upside. I believe that we're going to see a lot of scoring from the Buffalo Bills. They are still trying to prove that their offense is of the elite. They can take on everybody and absolutely dominate them. This is going to be another one of those performances. The Atlanta Falcons will definitely keep it in there enough for Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills to keep throwing the ball all game long. Dawson Knox should see a ton of targets. And for my sit tight end, I'm going with Cole Kmet. The Chicago Bears have been throwing his way quite a bit lately, but Cole Kmet just does not seem to be able to find the back of the end zone. In fact, it's the Jimmy Graham zone who's the one really finding the end zone right now. He's the one getting the throws from whatever quarterback is back there. Justin Fields, Nick Foles, it doesn't matter. Cole Kmet is not the guy when it comes to the inside the 20s. He's the between the 20s tight end, and he may get you yards, but at the end of the day, you really need that tight end from your tight end. And if you need that in your championship game, do not rely on Cole Kmet. I'm sitting him this week.
My start tight end, I'm going with Foster Moreau going against the Indianapolis Colts. Foster Moreau has been the second security blanket that Derek Carr has needed outside of Hunter Renfrow. Hunter Renfrow is going to be hyper-focused by the Indianapolis Colts defense, and right now Foster Moreau is going to be the beneficiary of that coverage. The Indianapolis Colts have been very susceptible to the tight end position. Just looking over the last couple of weeks, Hunter Henry scored 2 touchdowns against the Indianapolis Colts, and last week Zach Ertz absolutely lit them up. Now it's Foster Moreau's turn, and I believe he's going to be able to tear apart the middle of the field. I think the Indianapolis Colts are in for a rough day against this tight end. For my sit tight end, though, I'm going with Kyle Pitts against the Buffalo Bills. Kyle Pitts is the #1 receiver for this team. The problem is the Buffalo Bills know that, and the best part of their secondary are their safeties. You have Jordan Poyer, you have Micah Hyde, and you have linebackers underneath that can cover as well in Matt Milano and Tremaine Edmonds. So this is going to be a very, very tough matchup for Kyle Pitts. The Buffalo Bills take away what you're trying to do. They make you beat them left-handed, and that's exactly what they're going to do here. It's not going to be the Kyle Pitts show. If the Falcons have any chance, it'll be because Olamide Zaccheaus and Russell Gage got them into the end zone. All right, well, I want to hear from you guys. Let us know in the comments down below if you have any fantasy lineup questions. What are you looking to get done this week, and how can we help you win your championship? Let us know in the comments down below. All right, well, that's going to be all for now. Thank you all for watching. Be sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Hit that notification bell. We go live every single day. That'll be all. Peace and love.